ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Now, yes, we'll chat.
अमीहि त्वां सुरसङ्गा विशन्ति केचिद्भीता प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्गाः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः रुद्रादित्या वसवो ये च साध्या विश्वेश्विनौ मरुतश्चोष्मपाश्च गन्धर्वयक्षासुरसिद्धसङ्गाः वीक्षन्ते त्वां विस्मिताश्चैव सर्वे रूपं महत्ते बहुवक्त्रनेत्रम् महाबाहो बहुबाहुरुपादम् बहूदरं बहुदंष्ट्राकरालम् दृष्ट्वा लोका प्रव्यथितास्तथाहम् नभस्पृशं दीप्तमनेकवर्णम् व्याप्ताननं दीप्तविशालनेत्रम् दृष्ट्वा हि त्वां प्रव्यथितान्तरात्मा धृतिं न विन्दामि शमं च विष्णो दंष्ट्राकरालानि च ते मुखानि दृष्ट्वैव कालानलसन्निभानि दिशो न जाने न लभे च शर्म प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास अमी च त्वां धृतराष्ट्रस्य पुत्राः सर्वे सहैवावनिपालसङ्घैः भीष्मो द्रोणसूत्रपुत्रस्तथासौ सहास्मदीयैरपि योधमुख्यैः वक्त्राणि ते त्वरमाणा विशन्ति दंष्ट्राकरालानि भयानकानि केचिद् विलग्ना दशनान्तरेषु सन्दृश्यन्ते चूर्णितैरुत्तमाङ्गैः यथा नदीनां बहवोऽम्बुवेगाः समुद्रमेवाभिमुखा द्रवन्ति तथा तवामि नरलोकवीराः विशन्ति वक्त्राण्यभिविज्वलन्ति यथा प्रदीप्तं ज्वलनं पतङ्गाः विशन्ति नाशाय समृद्धवेगाः तथैव नाशाय विशन्ति लोकाः तपापि वक्त्राणि समृद्धवेगाः लेलिह्यसे ग्रसमानः समन्तात् लोकान् समग्रान् वदनैर्जलब्धिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जगः समग्रम् वासस्तवोग्रा प्रतपन्ति विष्णु।
The Vishwarupam is inconceivable, immeasurable. The cosmic form is immeasurable, is inconceivable. And it is wonderful. So beautiful, it is so wonderful. But the problem is Arjuna got frightened. The question is, what is it that made the shift? Though he started praising the form, he got frightened. What is it that he saw that he got frightened is what he's going to describe from now on. What is it that he saw that he actually got frightened? If your own life is you go to a movie, your own life is speeded up and shown on a projector. Nowadays they have that, no? Time? What do you call that? Time lapse. Time lapse. Time lapse. So you see that time lapse. So what is happening in Vishwarupa that he got frightened? His own life is shown in the time lapse. The changes are so rapid that he got frightened. Actually, it is not, actually, that's nothing to get frightened because that's what is happening that is what the truth is. But the time lapse, the speed with which he shows is frightening. What all that causes fear is what we are going to see as an introduction, and then we'll move on to the verses. What all causes the fear? First thing that causes the fear is your own life from birth to death in time lapse. In 4 minutes, it's shown. Rashankar. In PhD and all, you would have got in 5 seconds, isn't it? PhD you would have got in 5 seconds. And then you would have, in 1 second, something will happen. So all the good things in your life will be a few seconds. All the bad things in your life will go on for few more seconds. The good things in life will be just, it will go. But nevertheless, you see it happening in front. What will happen? The process of life is quickened and shown. What we are trying to do in philosophy is we don't want to see an actual thing by the gross eyes. We want to understand it intellectually. We want to understand it intellectually and transcend. Now, what he is doing is that which we are not intellectually ready to grasp and understand, he is showing it graphically. You age so fast. Even before you know what happened, it is. Even before you know what happened, it's over. Therefore, what is the fear? The first reason. What we are going to study is what we are going to see now. No, they are all being chewed up and somebody sticking here, somebody sticking there. All that description is going to, no, that causes fear. Why? Because it is shown at a speed. It is shown at a speed. Because we don't see that, we believe that it is because we don't have the capacity to intellectually see what is happening, we don't get frightened. We see Some small thing happening here, some small thing not happening there is causing so much of worry and anxiety and all that. Intellectually, you understand it at a speed, and then you understand this is what is happening again and again and again. It's not happening once and it's over forever. The same thing is repeating itself again and again and again, and the same thing is repeating itself again and again and again over eternities also. Why will you want to do that? Why will anybody want to be part of the cycle? You're able to follow. The first reason for fear is this. Everything is shown. One. Second is fear comes when this we have seen a little bit. In every aspect of life, in every human being, in every aspect of life, common sense tells us that there are both good and bad aspects. Common sense tells us. Common sense tells us that there are both good and aspects in every form. In the first few minutes of interaction, in the first few hours of interaction, in the first few days of interaction, what will you see? What will you see? Only the goodness you will see. Only the good aspects you will see. Because the time of interaction is very, very short, very small. You continue to pay attention to that. What will you start seeing? You continue to pay attention to that relationship. What will you start seeing? You will start seeing the negative aspect, the bad aspect. So every form has good and bad. The moment you see one small negative aspect, the mind will get fixated on that. The moment the mind gets fixated on that, it starts magnifying it. The moment you get fixated on that, the mind will start magnifying it. Very soon, you will see everything is wrong. Are you able to follow? Very soon, you will start seeing everything is wrong. And the moment you see everything is wrong, you will want to run away, you will not want to associate. When he saw the cosmic form first, he was filled with wonder, and now he got into the fear. From this, we derive what is the wonderment then in any form that we associate. What is the wonderment at one point of time? What is it that we want to run away from at another point of time? Don't take it as Vishwarupa, the teeth protruding, all that is symbolic. Don't take that literally. From that, a lesson is being learned for us. That is what we are trying to understand here. Are you able to follow? What we are, from what angle we are coming? Shankar. Vara, I'm telling you new stories of Vishwarupa. And don't come and ask the same question again. Nah? Sir, is Vishwarupa real? No, sir. I was so depressed when he asked this question. Prasad, SRL Shankar asked this question. You will get depressed, no? In any form that you see, something is always a wonderment first. Something is always beautiful first. Something is always attractive first. Continue to associate, the fault starts, you will start noticing the fault. Definitely you will start noticing the fault. That's the destruction. That's the destruction of the human being. The moment you start noticing the fault, because of the wrong way of living and functioning, the mind gets fixated to The mind will get fixated to that wrong. Very soon, what will happen? The wrong thing that is seen, the bad aspect that is seen, you can never take your attention away from it. You can never take your attention away from it. Why? Why do we do that? Because the mind has a natural affinity to negativities. How long can you say thank you and how long can you criticize? Once or twice you can say thank you and you can forget it. But you can go on criticizing for you can go on criticizing for months and maybe, thank God, Apohanam comes like yesterday, we saw no loss of memory. Thank God the Apohanam comes, loss of memory. We carry the habit to new persons. Otherwise, we'll do to the same person again and again and again. Why? Because mind has a natural affinity to negativities. Appreciation versus criticism. The mind has to appreciate something. The mind has to criticize something. And the person is appreciating, you can see something very shallow in that appreciation. And when the person is criticizing, you can see each and every cell in their body, each and every atom in that body is, each and every atom, each and every cell, each and everything is soaked in that, so deep rooted. This is the indication of untrained mind. This is the indication of untrained non-spiritual mind. Arjuna here is expressing that. Are you able to connect? No? He is expressing that. Therefore, he says, I don't want to see it. Why? Because I'm not able to take my mind away from it. That's why, if you remember last week, we discussed these two things. The few inches gap between the eyes and the eyes is so inspiring. The eye is so elevating. And the mouth is Dramshta Karalani, Dramshta Karalani. He's talking for verses and verses and verses. What a compassionate, loving, affectionate eyes that you have, isn't it? When a loving person gets angry, if you can look at the eyes, you will never get affected. Because even in that anger, that eyes doesn't lose the affection. Again, I repeat, even if a very loving, affectionate person gets angry at you, all that there's all simple things that you need to learn. And if you can look at the eyes for a few seconds, you know what love and compassion is in that eyes. Mahakashyap asks Buddha, how is it that you can get angry with so much of compassion in your eyes, he asked. Maybe would have got scolded a few times from Buddha. He says, how can you be so affectionate even in your anger? How can you be that? So when somebody is upset with you, you should not look at the words and the mouth. Where you should look? You should look at the eyes. But you don't look at the eyes. Nobody will look at the eyes. Everybody will start looking at the mouth only. Why? Because that's what we can do. What else can we do? So, Dramshta Karalani, he goes on describing about the why? Because the attention, the attention gets fixated to the negative. So when your attention is fixated on the negative, all the good gets overshadowed by that. All the good gets overshadowed by that. What does Vedanta come and say? If there is anything bad, if it is bad, if there is anything bad, there is the law that is going to take care. Why should you lose your peace because of that? Again, I repeat. If there is anything bad, there is the law that is going to take care. For nobody is an exemption to the, nobody is an exception to the law. That's why we call it as the supreme law, the divine law. Later on, he is going to see the same law devours the good, devours the bad. Symbolically, Arjuna is going to say, all the great warriors on our side and their side are all getting crushed, he says. Meaning, in the course of time, the good and the bad both gets devoured. Both keeps going. The law, only difference is what? One will get crushed, another will say stuti. That's all. One will get crushed and suffer and cry in agony and pain. Another will like, in the wonderment, what did he say? The great rishis and the siddhas, stuti. Stuti means swasti, he said, no? May loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Do you remember all that we spoke? Remember all that we spoke? So, when the good ones get crushed, there is no crushing at all, because the others may see it as crushing, but they keep saying swasti, swasti, swasti. The other ones, when the same law crushes the other, they go through agony, pain, suffering, etc. Nevertheless, there is the law. Are you able to follow? Now, all that you have to do is what? Have Shraddha in the law and train your mind to get fixated in the good and not move from that. This is the training. This is a spiritual training. Have Shraddha in the law and train your mind to get fixated on the good. Not that you are dumb, that you don't even see what is happening. Not that you are dumb. If you are dumb, not that you are dumb, you know what's happening, but still, you will say, Gautam Buddha, again, it is said to Buddha, I really don't know whether it is Buddha's quote or not, but it is said, anger is the punishment you give to yourself for another's mistake, he says. Somebody else something a mistake, and you get anger is the punishment that you give to yourself. Because have you ever observed, when you get angry, you are the only person who's angry and the other is laughing at you. That makes you more angry, correct? You get angry, scream and shout, your whole body is trembling, shaking, shivering, only it's happening to you. And what the other is doing? Other will laugh at you. Why? Because you will look like a cartoon figure at that time. You follow? So what is the other way? Shraddha in the law. Shraddha in the law. What is the law? What is the law? The law of karma. What is the law? The supreme law. The law of karma. So if at all there is anything bad, there is the law that is going to take care. I need not get fixated on that. Therefore, what is spiritual training? Spiritual training is, even though you know that it may not be the right thing to do, you tell yourself, I will not do it, that's all. But they did it, no, sir. There is the law that takes care. You need not boil yourself. You need not boil yourself for that. Are you okay till now? what happens to Arjuna now? He's not able to have, he's not having this maturity. This is the second aspect of the fear. Train your mind to see the good things. And what is the good thing that you have to train to see? Oh, this person is very kind. This person is very loving. This person is very affectionate. This person is very sacrificial. Idallam goodness, huh? No, that is not goodness. That is not goodness. Because you keep saying it, very soon you will find a fault and everything will change. Then what is seeing the good? Then what is seeing the good? See the being and don't see the human. See the being in everybody and don't see the human in anybody. That is the training. Human means name and form, properties, gunas, attributes, qualities. That's why human being equals spirit plus matter. So where should your fixation be? On the spirit. In the context of chapter 7 to 12, we will not use the word spirit. In the context of chapter 7 to 12, we will use the word divine God. That's why they say, see the divine, see the divine. But sir, in that human, how can you? No. Human is not divine. It is divine, that is, there is the divine behind the human. This is the fixation. Are you able to understand the difference now? This is the fixation that you should have. This fixation. What is the fixation? The capacity to the capacity to segregate the capacity to segregate the two. So when you say look at the good means, people start attributing qualities to human. He's very good, he's very kind, he's very loving, he's very affectionate, he's very sacrificial. I'm not saying don't say all that. I'm saying see all that also. But learn to see something more penetrative. Learn to see something that is more penetrative. What is it? Divine. Divine. But sir, how can divine do that? It means you have shifted the attention to human, which is not, you are crossing the line. You are crossing the line. What is crossing the line? You have crossed the line of not allowing the law to take care, and you are taking law onto your hands. Srikanth, Ada. Vadivelu's dialogue. Sattata kaila edukudadu, isn't it? You don't take law into your hands. Sattata kaila edukudadu. You cross the boundary. What is the boundary? The moment you get fixated on the human and then try to see and then try to divide the human into positive and negative, good and bad, and then say, I will only focus on the good aspect of the human and not on the bad aspect of the human. Keep trying it. It will not work. Keep trying it and everybody will say, do that, do that, do that. You keep doing it. Harvard professor of happiness. You know, correct, no? Harvard professor of happiness. And he sold out for 1 year, Narayanji. He sold out for 1 year, he sold out. Isn't it? He sold out for 1 year, he sold out. And his tickets and all. With 4 tickets, you can buy a house in Chennai. That is his ticket. That's his pricing. With 4 tickets of him, each and every class, நம்ம சண்டே கிளாஸ் மாதிரி தேங்காய் மூடி கச்சேரி கிடையாது. Anger, புரியுதா? இதெல்லாம் சும்மா தேங்காய் மூடி கச்சேரி. Venkatachalam. You understand தேங்காய் மூடி கச்சேரி? No? I don't know how to say that in I don't know how to say that in English now. Hmm. After finishing the entire thing, they will give you one banana and say thank you and go. Yeah. And that banana also will be half rotten. And they will pick the banana that is not. Have you? Do you know that? I don't know whether other has it part of their vocabulary, but we have it in part of the vocabulary. Where did you go? Yeah. Tenga Mudi Kacheri will say. Tenga Mudi Kacheri means you sing for 4 hours, you blow your lungs out and sing and do everything. At the end of the concert, what will they give? Subramaniam. What will they give? Yeah. ஒரே ஒரு banana they will give. Yeah. They will break the coconut and one half of the coconut they will give you. Not even the full coconut they will give you. Yeah. One half they will keep, one banana that they, and that banana also will be, I don't know, literally they do that in Venkatachalam. Have you seen it? They will take the bunch of bananas and they will see something and they will pick it and give it to you. Oh gosh, so funny it is. Well, that fellow, professor of happiness, sold out for 1 year. I heard that. Last night I heard. Guldur. I heard last night. Segregate. Don't see the bad. See the good. I thought for this you get sold out. Very good, I thought. But it doesn't. It just doesn't work. You can keep trying and trying and trying. It just doesn't work. Why? You follow? Why it doesn't work? As you are seeing the good, some bad also you will see. And very soon you will get fixated on that. And you can't keep brainwashing yourself to say, I will not see it. I will not get affected by it. I will not get affected by it. Nale, you are going to get? Huh? I will not get affected by it. I will not get affected by it. If you say that, you are already affected at the core. You are already affected at the core. You after that, you just cannot. After that, you just cannot do anything. Anybody will come and say anything after that, you'll say, no, sir, but. Are you able to follow? Second thing, that Arjuna is teaching us in the Vishwarupa. All these stories we are milking. Krishna is not saying, Arjuna is not saying all that. Arjuna only is getting scared, and then he's saying, show you the gentler form, and then when we go to gentler form, we will see something else there also. Are you okay till now? The second, the second thing for you. Here, he's saying, I don't want to see it. I want to run away, he's saying. Why he's saying, I want to run away? Because he is not able to take his eyes away from the mouth and shift the attention to the eyes. If only he has shifted to the eyes, wherever he is, he'll have no issue. I do not, all that he said, no, I do not know which is east, which is west, which is north, which is south. Because wherever, see, what does it mean that I lost the sense of direction? I lost the sense of everything. In any direction that I see only negativity. In any direction I go, I'm not able to escape you, he's saying. Are you able to understand what he's saying? He's saying in any direction I go, east to Ponalum, that Ghora Rupa is there. West to Pona, that Ghora Rupa is there. North to south, only that terrible form is there. It means what? No more happiness, no more peace, no more shanti. Only thing that I am seeing in life now is what? Only thing that I am seeing in life is what? Everything has become bad, terrible, worst. Everything in life has become bad, terrible, and worst. Why? Because you got so fixated on the negative. You got so fixated on the one negative. The moment you get fixated on the one negative, there will be the natural tendency of wanting to run away. Because it's so frightening, it's so irritating, you just want to run away. Physically, you can run away, but mentally, you will be carrying the scar. Again, physically, you can run away, but mentally, you will carry the scar. And the scar you will carry on for many janmas also. The scar you will carry, supposing you have a scar, and if you can get over it very soon, it's not as complicated. But not only you will carry the scar, and the scar will go on for ever into many janmas. Don't get fixated on the human, get fixated on the being. For human is a mixture of both. Human is a mixture of both. Shift the attention from the human to the being. Who are the wise ones who said swasti, swasti, loka, samasta, sukhino bhavantu and all that? Who are the wise ones that said, they had the capacity to say that? The ones who have shifted the attention from human to being. What is shifting the attention from human to being means from nama rupa to the essential. In the language from the 13th chapter, again we'll go back to different we'll go back to a different vocabulary from 13th chapter. What is the thing? See the gold and don't look at the nama rupa of the ornaments. See the clay and don't get carried away by the nama rupa of the pot. If you see the nama rupa, you will be lost. Are you able to follow? So that is the training. What is the training? So you don't tell yourself that see the goodness in everybody. Don't tell yourself, from today onwards, I'm going to see good. From today onwards, I'm going to see the goodness in everybody. Don't do that. For very soon you will see something which is bad also. Either you have to be in a denial that there is no bad. That is what is called positive thinking. Toxic positivity it becomes. So you get into the denial mode of seeing. You get into the denial mode. What is the denial mode that you will get into? The denial mode that you will get into is this. Even though you'll have to brainwash yourself to believe. You have to hypnotize yourself to say, there's no bad, there's no bad, there's no bad. Are you okay till now? You are not transcending it. You are only pushing it inside the car. You are only pushing it under the carpet. The dirt is just pushed under the carpet, isn't it? Guests are coming. So many things scattered in the house all over. What to do? Pick up everything and push into the cupboard. And you open the door. Open the door. The whole thing will fall on you only, isn't it? The whole thing will fall on you only, isn't it? Anything that you suppress goes into the subconscious, and it will burst out. Pressure cooker situation, that is called. What is the pressure cooker situation? You keep negating. Are you able to follow? What do you go on negating? There is no bad at all. There is no bad at all. I'm only going to see the good. I'm only going to see the good. You are suppressing it. So suppression is not the method. If I see anything bad, I will stand up, sir. I will stand up and what is the other extreme? I will stand up and fight for the victims. I don't know what you want to do. He says, whatsoever you choose to do, first learn to see the being first, get fixated in the being first, and then choose what to do. Are you able to follow? What is focusing on the being? That's why we go on reinforcing. There is the divine, there is the divine, there is the divine. Learn to see the divine. What is seeing the divine means? The divine means the two rupas to divine. Actually, three rupas to divine. What are the three rupas to divine? Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Creation, maintenance, destruction. Are you able to follow? Seeing the divine means what? The ability to accept all the three as part of the ability, the capacity to see all the three aspects as part of the creation. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Creation, maintenance, destruction. Something will start. It will be so beautiful. It will wither away. It will die. It will be born. It will be fantastic. It will die. It will be born. It will be beautiful. It will die. So the capacity to see the cycle is the play of the divine. Are you able to follow? Each and every aspect of life goes through these three. When you go through these three, one thing is you can cry and moan and suffer, or another thing is you can say, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Swasti, swasti, swasti. Are you able to understand the difference now? Fixation on the divine means not seeing an imaginary form God. Not seeing an imaginary form God is not fixating on the divine. What is fixating on the divine means? Creation, maintenance, destruction is one aspect of fixation on the divine. The second aspect of the fixation on the divine is your insignificance in relation to the totality. Are you able to follow? The first aspect of seeing the divine means see birth and death as two inevitable aspects of life. All the good things will come to an end and all the bad things will come to an end. Are you able to follow? All the good things will come to an end and all the bad things will come to an end. One end can be crushed, powdered, etc. Another end could be, even when you are put on the cross, you can say, for they know not, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. Are you able to follow? This is seeing the divine. Then, the second aspect of seeing the divine means you will be able to recognize your insignificance. You will be able to recognize your insignificance. What is recognizing your insignificance means? What is recognizing your insignificance means? We have given this example many a times, but what is the theorem that is taught through that? What is recognizing your insignificance means? You can never become the all-knower. You can never know everything. Are you able to follow? You can never know everything. Therefore, whatsoever you know is so limited. That is recognizing. But the ego, now understand the ego. The ego says, all the problem of the ego starts from the fundamental thing. What is all the problems of the ego starts from where? I know. I know. I know, sir. உங்களுக்கு தெரியாது, sir. You don't know, sir. You are so good that you don't even know what's happening. Isn't it? So goodness is equated to foolishness, isn't it? How many people have told me that? You're so good that you don't know. I said, what? So if you are a good person means you have to be a foolish person, huh? The source of the ego comes from where? I know. Are you able to follow? What is it I know means? What is it I know means? You will never say I know in relation to any subject. Again, I repeat, you will never say I know science fully. You will never say I know math fully. You will never say I know history fully. But in relation to a human being, you say, are you able to follow? In relation to another human being, you say, I know fully. If you say, I cannot know science fully, I cannot know math fully, there are so many areas that I can never ever know. Same knowledge, if we can translate into your relationships, you understand your insignificance. Are you able to follow the difference? But I have humility, sir, because in math I say I don't know. In science I say I don't know. That requires no training. By default, you will know that. Are you able to follow? So when you say I know, what you say in relation to the other beings that is causing so much of trauma and suffering and pain, you will never ever take the stance of saying I. But if I have lived with that person for 40 years, 50 years, if I have lived with that person for 70 years, 80 years, what do you have to say? What do you have to say? I don't know. No. You don't say I don't know. You should say, remember the distinction I always say, you can never say I don't know. You should always say, I can never know. That is recognizing that divine. Are you able to follow? That I can never know the totality makes you recognize your insignificance. The moment you recognize that insignificance, there's a different perception. There is a different, you have a different eyes. This is getting fixated on the divine. I said get fixated on the divine. Now, what is getting fixated on the divine means have an Ishtadevata form and get fixated on that form. Huh? No, it's not that. 3. Even if you have the Ishtadevata Murti, the God that inspires you, understand that God has the law. God is symbolic of the law. That's why I think Sikhism does it, I think. They will not have any deities, they worship the book. Correct? I think they are the ones who worship the book, no? They don't have Sikhism is another hybrid version of Vedanta. So beautiful. That one thing in them I like so much. They don't have any deities and all in their things. They have the book. That is so it is symbolic of the law. So what is fixating on the divine means I can never know. There is the law. There is the law. And what is the first thing I said? I said 3 things. Creation, maintenance, destruction. When all 3 gets combined, you have Jnana Chakshu. You have a divine, you become wise. Arjuna obviously is not that wise here. So why we said so many stories? To explain what is that Vishwarupa, actually why the different reactions of Vishwarupa is happening. From wonderment to fear. And then later on he is going to say gentler form. Whatever the gentler form is, when we go there, we'll study that also. Are you okay till now? Are you all okay till now?
From 2-3 question is blocking me from understanding the teaching now. The first thing is you said good and bad has a beginning and an end. So do you agree that there is a bad existing? Is
Ah.
that the right way of understanding?
The question is this. Both good and bad has a beginning and an end. Does it mean that there is something called bad existing and it is ending? That is the question, correct?
Yes.
Yes and no. The answer is yes and no. Yes at your level, no at a higher level. Yes at your level and no at a higher level. The question that she is asking is a very relevant question. If you say good and bad has a beginning and an end, so indirectly you are agreeing that there is something called bad and it has come to an end. No. Yes. At a very elementary level of human existence, there is good and bad. Are you able to follow? When you move up to the higher level, there is no good and bad. Gunas functioning. There is no good and bad. Gunas functioning. Guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Adella karma yogali he covered it. Guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Beautiful description. Are you able to understand now? That is, yes. Is there good and bad? Yes. When you are at the elementary level of existence, you have to divide life into good and bad. When you mature into the higher level, you only say gunas functioning. And then you go, it's the same divine in this Nama Rupa functioning. Highest is what? What is the highest? That is Vedanta. The highest is, it's all one big Maya. It's all one non-existing thing. And in the non-existing snake, you are dividing it to good and bad. The non-existing snake is divided into good and bad. What are you talking? But then right now you cannot take the snake stance. Right now you cannot take the, even though intellectually you can understand the snake stance, practically it will not help. Therefore, Krishna is taking us step by step by step. This is answering the first clarification. Venkat, are you okay? Satisfied?
Yeah, first one only.
Satisfied. Venkat, note பண்ணி வச்சுக்கோங்க, historic day today. Historic day today. Venkatachalam. Historic day today. She is, that's why I am pausing and catching a breath. Mada. Correct. Second clarification.
So I will work on that first one.
Yes.
Second question. You say blind to the fault. Does it mean that you are already seeing a fault, therefore you are agreeing you be a blind to the fault? Does it mean like that?
Blind to the fault.
Since you are already seeing a fault, that's why you are saying blind to the fault. Does it mean like that?
The question is, you are already seeing the fault and you become blind to that.
That's what
Does it what
it means?
is meant? The mind that is divided has good and bad, fault, etc. Love is blind, they say. Ramtirtha puts it very beautifully. Love is blind. He says correct. Love is blind. Blind to the fault in the other forever. Again, they say love is blind. Ramtirtha says correct. It is blind. But blind to what? Blind to the fault. Don't put a full stop there. Put a comma there. Blind to the fault in the other, comma, put another word and then full stop. What is that word? Forever. It means there is no such thing called fault at all. Are you able to follow? In the initial stages, we say learn to ignore it, move on. All that is spoken at a very, very elementary level. Correct? So learn to see the fault doesn't mean that you are ignoring it, you are suppressing it. You are You are transforming yourself to the higher level of existence where what appears as fault doesn't appear as fault anymore because of your growth. Again, I repeat, you have evolved to the higher level of existence where what everybody will call as fault ceases to be a fault in your eyes. Are you okay till now? Doesn't mean your agreement with that you are going to do that. You just, it's the vision of understanding. Are you able to follow? The vision of understanding. You cannot, the moment you have seen a fault, you can only temporarily suppress it. The moment you have seen a fault and convinced that there is a fault, all that you can do is what? You can only suppress it. You can never ever transcend it. In order to transcend it, in order to transcend it, transcending means removing the cataract vision. Transcending means removing that cataract vision. That is a spiritual trait. Are you okay? So seeing the fault means you are already irritated, you have already lost. Half the battle is lost already because you are already convinced that it is a fault. Are you able to follow? Fixation on the fault. That which is not acceptable to you is what you call as fault. It is highly egoistic. This is how you transcend. Now I'm saying the method of how to transcend it. It is highly egoistic and selfish and self-centered in a human being to have this division of fault. Fault means that which agitates you, that which disturbs you is what you call as fault. Are you able to follow? That which agitates you, that which disturbs you is what you will call as fault. Imagine that you are not that person there. How would you see it? In the course of life, all this happens, sir. A person met with an accident. What will be your reaction? All this happens. All this happens. You are very detached. Oh, it happened to your friend. It happened to you, to the closest person. Traffic in this country is bad. Nobody follows. Are you able to follow? Suddenly the fault. Previously, what was told as part and parcel of life will be, you will start calling it as fault now. Why? Are you able to understand the difference? Why you will call it as fault? Because it started affecting you. Because it started affecting you, you have started to call it as fault. Are you understanding the difference? So is there a fault? Per se, is there a fault? Per se, is there a fault? No. Per se, situations. Remember this as a law. Per se, there is only situations in life. Good and bad, right and wrong, fault or no fault and all is related to the ego. Is related to the ego. See it from that angle. Are you able to follow? So the fault is a selfish, self-centered, egoistic stance is the fault that makes the situation appears as faulty. Again, I repeat, the situation or the person appears to be fault wrong because of your affectation. If it is pleasant, you will say it is wonderful. If it is unpleasant, you will say it. So the right and wrong, good and bad is entirely centered on your pleasantness or unpleasantness. Are you able to follow? That's why we say it is highly egoistic, selfish, self-centered. This is answering the second clarification. Yes.
Because we are not I'm not at a level where I'm able to say blind to the fault. No, I'm not at that level. So one step below that. If not blind to the fault, at least how to point the flaw, and the other doesn't feel that they are being judged even if my views are different. Is it possible? How can you do it like that?
The question now she is asking is,
Want me to repeat the question?
no. I'm looking for Mala here. I'm looking for her. The question that she is asking is this. I see a fault. I want to point out the fault and make the person not feel bad or being judged. How to do that? Can I do that, and how to do that? Answer is, what is the answer? Okay, in the classroom, what is the answer? Outside the classroom, what will you do? Two answers. Yeah. Wise man. Wise man. In the classroom, what is the answer? And don't give me that answer. Outside the classroom. The question that she is asking is outside the classroom, she is asking. In the classroom, the answer is very straightforward. You have no business to do that. That is very, very clear. Outside the class, are you able to follow? Inside the classroom, outside the classroom, the answer remains the same. You have when you yourself have accepted that you are not at that level, one child cannot correct another child. Are you able to follow? She started with the statement, since I am not at that level, I am bringing it down to my level, for which the answer is one child should not parent another child. That is the law. Who should parent? Parent, only the higher should say that. As a child, one child can tell another child what? We are all in the same boat is what we can say. One child can tell the another child. What can they say? We are all in the same boat. But the ego will not allow you to say that. The ego will make you to say what? The ego will make you to say this. Are you able to follow? What it will make you to say? I'm only objectively pointing it out, take it or leave it. I'm just saying it, sir. That's all. I just said it. That's all. You take it. After that, I'm not. My job is only to say whether you take it or not is your privilege. That's what we say generally, isn't it? Vedanta comes and says, first step, it is wrong. What? First step itself, it is wrong. What is wrong in the first step? One child should not parent another child. Are you able to follow the answer? Have you ever observed this phenomena in life? That we all want to catch hold of children and teach. Have you ever observed that? Why? 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 Because at that age only you can do brainwashing. Teaching cannot be done. Have you ever observed that? I want to reform the youth, sir. I want to change the youth. I want to do this. In 1997, I'm talking. I think 97. We should have a youth class, they said. Everybody will have a youth class, and I don't have a youth class at all in my thing. I say, I myself is so old, and students also will be old only. Youth class. You know who was the only youth in the class? And the youth is still sitting here. Raise the hand. She's so shy, she doesn't even want to raise the hand. She's so shy. Did you all see? There is one lady. She's the only youth. And she's not at all a youth. Huh? She's 20 years elder to me, then only. Youth class. Asha ji, correct? I still remember. Every time I cross the Narada Gan Sabha, I'll remember that only. Oh, God, so funny it will be. Oh, funny it will be. You follow? I used to think, why? Because you can easily impose, you can easily brainwash. So why? Because you can go on pointing out the fault, you can exploit their helplessness, you can go on doing everything. The same thing when an adult comes, you want to run away. Why? Why? Because none of it is working there. Are you able to understand the difference? Are you able to understand the example? Why? Because with reference to an adult, anything and everything they're going to turn back and say, but you are not like that, no. But you are not like that, no. The child is not going to say, but you are not like that. Are you able to follow? Therefore, one child should not parent another child. Are you able to follow? Therefore, you should never go out and say, this is I'm objectively pointing out the fault for your welfare. Or I'm objectively pointing out the fault and you do what you like. Or I'm objectively pointing out the fault without being judgmental. All these are a very hallucinatory stance that you take about yourself. Because you cannot find the fault and not be judgmental also. It is impossible. Again, I repeat, I'm making a universal statement. The moment you find a fault, you will become, you may agree with me, you can say, no, you don't know what you're talking. That you can say. But the truth is what? The moment you find a fault, you have already judged. What is the proof of it? What is the proof that you have judged already? Are you able to follow the question that I'm asking now? What is the proof that you have already judged? There is an indication. What is that indication? What is that indication? That finding the fault is not bringing in compassion. That finding that fault is bringing in anger and irritation. Are you able to follow? Again, I repeat. When you find a fault, does compassion come or anger and irritation comes? Keep it as the yardstick. In your child, what comes? In your child, what comes? Because you have already you have already invested a lot there. Therefore, in the case of your child, it is different. In the case of the rest, it's different. Are you able to follow the difference? In the case of your child. So wherever there is mindness, you will see the fault, but anger and frustration, irritation will not come. Wherever that mindness is not there, a smallest thing is enough to, a small fault is enough to become judgment. Are you able to understand the difference now? Therefore, till you develop a universality, what you need to do? When you see a fault, till you develop a universality, when you see a fault, what you need to do? Bring in all that we said, discussed till now, and neutralize that ego. Minimize that ego. Neutralize that ego. bring in compassion. Are you able to follow? And very difficult to bring in this compassion and affection, etc. Very difficult to. Why? Because the indication of seeing the fault is the indication of seeing the fault is what? A anger, a irritation. A anger and irritation wanting to either wanting to change and correct and make it suitable to you or eliminate. Either way, it is ego at play. Either way, it is ego at play because you are wanting to suit it to you, which is far more selfish and self-centered than trying to eliminate. Because you try to eliminate, the other is going to say, get lost and walk away. Nothing, that much of ego doesn't happen there. But you try to change it to make it suitable to you is what is the height of so uncultured it is. So uncultured, so selfish and self-centered. And most of the times, what do we want to do? If we see a fault, we want to correct the fault in the other, change the fault in the other, so that it can suit me. Why? Because it is affecting me. It is disturbing me. So where is it? It is not stemming from compassion on the other. It is stemming from your own perception of loss, your own perception of losing something. Are you able to follow? Highly selfish and self-centered it is. But you can't say it also. Why? Because if 99% does it, that becomes a universal standard. Therefore, everybody is doing it. Therefore, it seems to be perfectly legitimate. Seeing the fault and pointing out the fault is the most ego-satisfying thing in life. Again, I repeat, the most ego-satisfying thing in life is what? Seeing the fault and pointing it out and then saying, for their good only I'm doing, sir. What makes you to think what is good for them for? You don't know what is good for. You don't know what is good for you in the first place. What makes a human being think what is good for the other? But the human being thinks like that. Are you able to follow? So the moment you see the moment you have seen it, you have made a conclusion. So there is the ego at play. What is the ego at play? You see a fault temporarily, you are above the other. Psychologically, you are one step above the other. That's ego. That's height of ego. That is height of ego. That is selfishness. But sir, I'm genuinely good. No. Sir, I'm genuinely good, sir. What are you talking? Looks like you are egoistic now. I am genuinely good, sir. What is genuine goodness? If you go in with the genuine goodness and point a fault, that person will prostrate to you and say, point out more that I want to correct myself. That is the indication. Again, I repeat, if you go in with the genuine goodness, that person will prostrate to you and say, thank you for pointing out to me. Tell me more of this, that I can correct myself. This is where it becomes a Guru-Sishya relationship. Are you able to follow what is a Guru-Sishya? This is where Guru-Sishya happens. Before that, you want to point the fault out. The other person says, look at yourself before you tell. Look at yourself before you tell me. So both are arguing about what now? The fault is gone. Now the argument has shifted to ego. Are you able to follow?
So I have put myself in a helpless situation where I'm helplessly seeing the fault in the other, and this fault is more back to irritation than compassion.
Yes.
So the only rescue for me is to go by this spiritual training
Yes.
and bring down my ego and
Yes.
try continuously in this path
Yes.
till the ego totally subdues.
Yes.
And that's how the compassion forms.
That's how the compassion.
So that where there is compassion, you will never see the fault.
Yes. Compassion is an indicator of ego being dissolved. Compassion is the indicator. Compassion means two stories I'll give you for what compassion is. One is Nilakanta, Shiva. One name of Lord Shiva is Nilakanta. Nilakanta means what? Blue throat. Will anybody have a name called blue throat? English isn't it? Nilakanta. What is it? The deadliest poison is gone inside and not affected. That is Nilakanta. The power of the tapas is that. The person has done so much of tapas that even the hala visha, they say, the most deadliest poison the world can ever see is that poison. And that he swallowed and Nilakanta. Second example. You know, when did Krishna got the name Krishna? How he got the name Krishna, you know that? Okay, what is the color of Krishna? What is the color of Krishna? Dark black. That's what you have told us, sir. It's not a black acid. It's not the black acid. Black is beautiful. Not that kind of a black. It's a bluish, poisoned black. Have you ever seen a person poisoned? Have you ever seen a person bitten by a cobra? How the whole skin color changes? That is Krishna. That is Krishna. And how he got that color? Putana came. The Rakshasi Putana, 30th day of his life, is an infant. 30th day of his life, the Rakshasi Putana came. And she breastfed Krishna. She gave poison to her. In return, he gave moksha to her. That is compassion. Again, I repeat. That's how he got that color. Do you know that? I don't know what we know, isn't it? But we think we know everything. I don't know. Naranji, I'll find out what all you people will not know and ask. Well, I know these stories, these things you would have never ever. So, he's not born in that color. You know that? He is not born like that. Rama and Krishna have a similar color, skin color. You know that? Rama also has a similar skin color. Why these people are described in that color? I used to think that. Because you don't have anything meaningful to do in life, we'll sit and think all these things. Why? Whatsoever poison from the world comes in, that doesn't affect them at all. So why the color? It means they have recognized it. But remain unaffected by it. Not only that, Putana came to give Krishna the poison. He drank the poison. That's how his skin color changed. He drank the poison, and what he gave in return to her? Moksha. Moksha means transformation. Moksha means the transformation. Are you able to follow? That level of selflessness is required to point out the fault. Otherwise, what you do, you learn to not ignore, say, I have nothing to do with this. There is the law. There is the law that is functioning. I have nothing to do with this. There is the law that is functioning. I have nothing to do with this. Are you able to follow? And when we say law, law means the divine law, not the man-made, not the Supreme Court to full bench, half bench, not all that. Yeah, otherwise 5 bench, 7 bench, 11 bench, or not all that law. There is the divine law. All the man-made law, the human can excuse from the bench and say, I don't want to be part of it. Do that. Whenever you see a fault, rescue yourself. In court cases, they say some judges rescue themselves from the case, they say, isn't it? I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be part of this. Why? Because somewhere there is a personal connection. Beauty it is. I love it so much. Somewhere there's even when there is an indirect personal connection, you will lose your objectivity in that. You will lose your object. Therefore, what? Simply withdraw. Are you okay? This is how you do. And when the guru corrects the fault, it means guru here means not a professor. See, anybody who talks, you think he is the guru. That's your problem. Anybody who talks on the subject, you will go and fall at the feet thinking that person is the guru. Blind leading the right. Who's the guru? Who is the guru? The guru is one who says, let us not talk about the fault. Let us not pay attention to the fault. Let us pay attention on how to get back to the divine. Let us not talk about the fault, correcting the fault and all. Are you able to follow? It means that which you come with the burden, he just melts it away. He just melts it away. He just melts it away by saying, let us not talk about, let us not sit and talk why, what, when, how, then let us not talk. Forget it. Let us talk how to shift the attention to the divine. That's the good. Are you able to understand the difference? Otherwise, sit and say you are wrong, this is wrong, that is wrong, this is wrong, that is wrong. Where and when this will end? How much ever you make the dream better and better and better, it will still be the same only. What is it? Good and bad. It will be that. Situations will be both. Both the situations will be there. He who made it new better than a man, like me, olive tree. Beautiful poem, isn't it? Beautiful poem. I'm still thinking in that poem only Wednesday thing. Beautiful poem it is. Beautiful poem. That olive tree. He who made it knew what it needed better than a man. You will follow? And what is non-judgmental way of dealing a fault means? The other person must come and say, I have a fault. Wait. No, the other person must come and say, looks like I have a fault. You don't say there is a fault. Starting point. Again, I repeat. What is the starting? You don't call everybody and say fault. The other person must come and say, Sikshati ikshate iti sishya. That is why the person comes and says, I have a fault. I want correction. Immediately don't started discourse. I was waiting for you to say this only. Now that you have told me this, I'll make a kottu parota. I'll make a mince meat out of you now, left, right, dang, 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 no? Like Madurai kottu parota it is, isn't it? Madurai kottu parota means, oh God, that noise itself is so musical it is, isn't it? How they, oh God, I like that. I like that sound so much. I can't taste it. It's so too much for me to even put a little bit, but that music of it. How musically they make it, they make a mincemeat. What is the Guru? If you think you have committed a sin, sin no more. Mary Magdalene came. She was caught red-handed in the act of adultery. The whole lot said, what are you saying? Christ said, he amongst you who has not committed any sin, cast the first stone. Bitten by their own conscience, bitten by their own conscience, one by one left. Because one child cannot parent another child. Now there are only two. Whenever you want to point the fault, remember this. Remember this episode. That's why every few months I keep repeating this episode. So beautiful it is. She's standing in front. Christ looks at her and says, 9:15 already. So I'm just summarizing it. In some other class, we'll elaborate the whole scene. I think many a times I have elaborated the whole scene also. Beautiful is that scene. He looks up, only she is standing. He asks, there was a group of people standing here accused. No, where are they? They all left. They all gone, my Lord, she says. Why are you standing? You also go. Why are you hanging around? You also leave. She couldn't move. She stood she just couldn't move. He said, what is the way out? What is the way out for me? If you think you have committed a sin, sin no more. But sir, in my head, I don't have the possibility of committing sin at all. In my head, everybody around me is only sinning all the time. Clear? That's what the question is. In my head, sir, exactly, I'm also like Jesus Christ only. Because in my head, I don't commit any sin at all, but everybody around me is constantly sinning. Now what do? You go back and say, why are you standing? You go back. Go back. Are you able to follow? Compassion means you have reduced your ego, you have diluted your ego, you have become compassionate. Means the other will come and plead, correct me. And then you'll say, it's okay, forget it, we'll talk later. It's okay, forget it, we'll talk later. Not that you are postponing. You want that person to understand, get out of that thing first. Get out of that faulty thing first. Are you okay? This is how the Guru deals with, because in his eyes there is no fault at all. In his eyes there is no fault. Why? Because the Guru has two glasses. Guru means he has two frames. What are the two glasses that the Guru has? There are only two glasses he has. Or she also. Why only he? The Guru can be she also. What are the two glasses? Everything is divine is one glass. So he puts that glass first. One glass. Everything is divine. That one glass. Okay. For far side now to and then another problem. Another glass. What is the other glass? Maya. These are the two glasses of the Guru. Are you able to follow? The two glasses of the Guru is you can't see anything. You are so blurred. I can't even see. Now I can see very clear. Crystal clear vision. What is that glass that gives you the crystal clear vision? One vision is everything is divine. Another vision is Maya. What is the name of the technology of this glass where you can see both? Progressive. Progressively increase your vision. Progressively increase your vision. ரெண்டு கிளாஸ்லாம் போட்டுக்க வேண்டாம். You don't need to have two glasses, so you don't have to keep changing. Progressive. Correct. That's the word. Progressive glass. I always like that word progressive. Progressively your vision should increase. What is it? Short sight, far sight. Short sight, divine. Far sight, Maya. Short sight, divine. Far sight, Maya. What are we talking even? What are we even talking as fault, correction, this, that? Children play with all this. Children play with these pebbles. Is it okay? With this, we continue for today, and we will not be meeting for the next 2 weeks. We will not be meeting for the next 2 weeks, and then it will be announced in the group. Whenever Venkat decides that we should meet, Venkat will decide when we are going to meet, and he will tell me and put it in the group. We will come.
No, there is a clarification by Venkatachan.
There's a clarification. Oh, sorry, Venkatachan. How does a guru help the disciple to transcend her guna-related affectations? You have answered it already. It is guna. You have nothing to do with the guna. That's how the trick. The question that Venkatachalam is asking is, how does a guru help the disciple to transcend one's guna-related affectations? Guna within quote, sattva, rajas, and tamas. That is the answer. What is the answer? It is guna-related. You have nothing to do. You have nothing to do with the guna. It is guna. It is the guna that plays. Why are you getting affected? Right? He segregates you under the guna. He doesn't say you are the guna. He says segregate. Yes, segregate. Guna and you. Why? What is the segregation? Guna is the human. You are the being. Prida. You don't have to come. It's over now. You don't have to come for Ken and all and waste your time. Payment and all will not be returned back. Yeah, you don't have to come for Ken and forget it. Don't focus on the. Don't focus on the. What is guna? Shift from the. Guna is belonging to the human, and who are you? You are not a human. You are not a human. You are not a human. You are not an animal. You are not a human means you don't belong to any nama rupa. You don't belong to any guna. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. The father. What a teaching it is. What are you? Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. You follow? Is it okay, Venkatachalam? Yeah. With this we conclude.